Hey guys, Chris here, enemy Ukrainian Canadian. Today is January 29th, 2024, and let's get to the news happening in Ukraine, shall we? And today I start with some pretty turbulent news, and there's reports and rumors now throughout social media and within Ukraine that there is a potential of dismissal of Valery Zaluzhny, so the commander-in-chief of the Ukrainian armed forces. And so this started a few hours ago. More and more reports came out, and these are sources from the Ukrainska Pravda, so this newspaper, which mentions that sources within the National Security and Defense Council said that Zaluzhny was summoned and offered another position, perhaps as an ambassador somewhere, and he refused. So for now, as you can see, this has been updated that it's been denied by the Zelensky administration, and they're claiming that this is just hearsay. These are false reports. And surely, the truth is somewhere in the middle, in my opinion. This is probably a reaction from Zelensky's administration to the procurement of ammunition budget that was stolen by defense officials back in 2022. And this is a story that came out a few days ago, where $40 million that were supposed to be used for the procurement of ammunition was actually stolen. And this was, let's not forget, under the eyes of Alexei Reznikov, which was removed from his position last year. So this is a story that was uncovered by the SBU, so the Ukrainian intelligence. And so, in my opinion, as I said, this could be something where the truth lies in the middle. So I think that there is definitely some friction between Zelensky and Zaluzhny. And as I said previously, guys, I'm not putting Zelensky on their pedestal. I have respect for Zelensky's government in terms of, and himself as well, having stayed in Ukraine and really, he's been determined in really securing funds and foreign aid for Ukraine. He did not leave. He did not get that free ride as it was proposed to him, and he stayed in Ukraine. But the more time goes by, the more I see that there is a lot of inaction from Zelensky's government. Inaction in terms of corruption, in terms of really handling serious issues internally. And Zelensky, pretends like nothing is going on in Ukraine when there's serious issues within his own administration and within the Ukraine government, to which I don't believe Zaluzhny needs to bear consequences for the inaction of Zelensky's administration. And so I think that this could be also a way to test the waters, to gauge the public reaction. And who is trying to test the waters? It could be Zelensky's administration. It could be some other powers outside of the administration, just to see how people will react to it. And you can see today that the reaction is extremely negative within the Ukrainian population. People react negatively, and they fully support Zaluzhny. They want Zaluzhny to continue to be the commander-in-chief, and I support that as well. Zaluzhny has proven himself to be a capable leader, and he's a man that is dedicated to his craft, and his mission right now is to destroy the Russian forces in Ukraine. And I think he's been doing an excellent job considering what he has to work with, and the factors and the variables that are at play here. And Zaluzhny, another thing that I really respect from him is the fact that he's not playing PR, he's not playing a populist, doing conferences every week and doing, videos and being very present in social media. He's very silent, and he only comes out when he has something smart or important to say. And for that, I really support the continuation of Zaluzhny as the commander-in-chief of the Ukrainian forces. So I hope that these are just, it's just hearsay, it's false. And again, these types of news, shouldn't be discussed publicly within, by the Ukraine insiders or within Ukraine. This is only helping sow more divisions within Ukraine, which is only helping, and, it's only bringing pleasure to the Kremlin. They're going to work on that for weeks, right? Working on these divisions, try to incite these divisions to grow bigger and bigger. And it's only going to allow Kremlin's propaganda to grow larger in terms of discussing Ukraine. And look, they can't even figure out and come to a compromise, and Zelensky isn't getting along with Zaluzhny, and then There's some other issues within, Zelensky's administration. Like, it's only helping the Kremlin propaganda. So I hope this is not true. So far, it seems to be that it's just, rumors, but I don't hope that it grows into something bigger, where we would see potential Zaluzhny being removed from his position, which I think would have serious dire consequences. And I would equate this to, I was thinking about it like a sports team, instead of, really trying to maybe trade players that are not performing well, they're just going to fire the coach, because that's the easiest thing that they can do, instead of, looking at maybe the team and what real issues exist within that team. And most of the time, it's usually the players. I'm not saying the coach doesn't bear any responsibility. Of course, as I mentioned here, I should mention here, Zaluzhny is no perfect man, and there have been mistakes made, miscalculations, but that's fine, because it's war, and war isn't just a one-dimensional road where, if you plan ahead, then everything's going to go according to plan. We've seen that doesn't work out, and the enemy always adapts, and so it's a game of adaptation, and it's difficult to readjust. But when you just decide that we'll just fire the coach and everything's going to be fine, that's not the case. And we've seen how many times that has occurred in the past, where teams just change coaches, but the culture and the problem still lies there. And I hope that's not going to be the case with the Commander-in-Chief Zaluzhny. So let me know what you guys think about this situation. And again, what worries me as well is that last year, when we were talking about Oleksiy Reznikov, so that was the Minister of Defense that was eventually removed from his position because of corruption scandals, a similar type of thing happened as well, where there was some insider sources saying that, Zelensky is considering to remove him from position, and then he was also apparently given the option of becoming ambassador somewhere else. And then what happened a few months later, then he was truly removed. So, this does not look good to me, but I hope this is just, again, hearsay, and it's just rumors. Now, on some more positive news, I fully support this. So the European Union apparently is drawing up a plan to derail Hungary's economy. It's not just because, but that's because Viktor Orban has been blackmailing the EU and Ukraine. Basically, it's great to see that Europe isn't going to allow itself to be blackmailed by Hungary. And they're developing a plan to sabotage Hungary's economy unless Budapest agrees to negotiate a new aid package for Ukraine. You guys remember that for the last few months, Orban has been mentioning that he will not support this aid package to Ukraine because, some bring in issue X and this, but we know that the real reason is that Viktor Orban is pro-Russian, and he has everything. His interests are really with Putin and Russia rather than the European Union, and they're also trying to get a bigger piece of the pie for this aid package. So Brussels is intending to collapse the Hungarian forint and reduce Hungary's investment attractiveness in order to harm jobs and growth in the country's economy. And so they noted that unless the Hungarian Prime Minister Orban makes concessions, the EU leadership may publicly announce a complete cessation of funding for Budapest. So again, why is Europe supposed to tolerate Viktor Orban and his games, right? He's been playing games ever since the war started, mentioning that, well, this is just a misunderstanding. Russia never invaded Ukraine, right? He's been spewing a lot of pro-Russian propaganda that I don't believe he even believes, but he has to do it because, well, he's probably under Putin's paycheck. And he's clearly holding Europe's security hostage, right? So that's clearly an issue within the European Union. So it's good to see that they're trying to figure out ways to remove Hungary from the equation, because now you've seen that Europe has woken up. Germany, France, Britain, and many other countries now understand and are preparing their population for the potential Russian threat that could occur within the next few years. And another very good news today as well, that is the representatives of the European Union countries at a meeting today coordinated a creation of a separate account to which the interest from taxed income of frozen Russian assets will be transferred to. So again, it's good to see that there's already creation of accounts that will be utilized for the reconstruction of Ukraine. So Europe is already planning, several ways to help Ukraine in the future. So huge thank you to the European Union. I hope that this works out and that Hungary actually cedes and approves this new aid package for Ukraine, which is absolutely essential for Ukraine's survival, because Ukraine is tied with its hands behind its back, right? Ukraine is fighting a massive war with Russia. Its economy is absolutely destroyed. It needs support, evidently, right? And, Viktor Orban is one of those very few European leaders that is currently holding up this aid because he's a pro-Russian. Another pro-Russian is Donald Trump, and today he tweeted, or he posted in his own social media platform a very worrisome comment about essentially his support of Vladimir Putin, and that he trusts Putin more than his own American intelligence. So you can see that he writes that, remember in Helsinki when a third-rate reporter asked me essentially who I trusted more, President Putin of Russia or our intelligence lowlifes. So he's literally berating his own people, the people that are working hard within the United States to protect American interests. And then he says, obviously, who do you think I would choose, Putin or these misfits? Essentially, he's hinting that he trusts Putin more than the American intelligence agencies. And this exactly tells you everything you need to know and expect from Trump if he gets elected as president in 2024. And in terms of his policy with Russia and what it's going to be. Here you have to expect the worst from Trump. And unfortunately, I see it more and more in the last few months that his backers are more concerned about winning against the Democrats, just winning, right? They just want to win and go back to power, than looking out for the interests, not only of their own country, but also for the overall global security, right? I have no doubts that Donald Trump will hand out Ukraine on a silver plate for Putin if he comes to power in late 2024, early 2025. And to me, it's just, I know I might offend some Republican voters, but to me, it's just, I can't understand a man that clearly has incited a coup d'etat on January 2021 and is still able to present himself as a candidate for American elections. To me, that just doesn't, I can't understand that, and so again, you guys let me know what you think about this, but I really do believe that Trump isn't going to be looking out for American interests when he comes to power, and he's really going to mess up the global security of the entire world, and that's going to be very concerning. So that's why it's important to vote. And again, your vote is your vote. You get to decide who you want to vote for, but you are, you have been warned. So the last news I wanted to talk about is India, and they're pivoting from Russian arms, which is very good news. So India is seeking to distance itself from its largest arms supplier, which was Russia. And the world's biggest arms importer is slowly turning to the West as the United States looks to strengthen ties in the Indo-Pacific region. And Russia previously supplied 65% of India's weapons purchases of more than $60 billion during the last 2 decades. However, since the war started now, you can see a shift from New Delhi, which now are indicating that they're not likely to sign any major military deal with Russia. And they're expecting to, for the next decade, spend more than $100 billion on defense, but it's certainly not going to be with Russian arms. So this is a massive blow for Russia's lucrative arms export business and its economy, and it's also a massive blow for its reputation as a capable arms producer. I don't think it's going to impact its revenues because, their arms exports is such a small percentage of the Russian GDP. I think it's less than 1%, but it's more about, the reputation that it brought to Russia and the fact that, if you export weapons, then countries become more and more dependent. So it's also an influence, a kind of soft influence that Russia had, like, let's say, on India and other countries, because they became dependent and reliant on Russian arms. But now you can see that less countries want to depend on Russian weapons, considering that, first of all, they've seen how poorly these weapons have been performing in Ukraine, and they are also unreliable. One of the reasons why New Delhi is seeking other partners is because they've been waiting for many years now for certain weapons that they've purchased. And that is directly tied to Russia just being incapable of providing these weapons to India or other countries because they're so desperate for them right now, including air defense systems or tanks. So, seeing that, India clearly does not want to align itself with Russia anymore. And also, as I mentioned, the poor performance, right? The Russians were claiming, fabulous numbers and fabulous performance in terms of its tanks, its air defense systems, its missiles. And we've seen how poorly they've been performing in Ukraine, and that Russia is absolutely unable to achieve any type of victory in Ukraine. And that will continue to be the case for the next years. So yeah, that's the video for today, guys. One last update is that the other Valery, so this is the Russian Valery Gerasimov, it's been pretty much a month since we've seen him, physically speaking, and there's rumors now mentioning that an attack that occurred on January 4th that I've mentioned a few weeks ago, that he was there and he was killed during this Ukraine missile attack in Crimea, where rumors indicate that he was present during the attack and he might have died. So again, I just want to pass on these news because it is indeed strange that he hasn't appeared live for over a month now. But this is not the first time. Let's not forget, I remember even in April or May 2022, during the first few months of the war, that there was rumors indicating that Gerasimov got killed in the Eastern Front in Donetsk or Luhansk, if I remember correctly. So I'll take it with a grain of salt, but I surely would be happy to hear that Valery Gerasimov would be dead, but I seriously doubt that this happened. So just want to pass on these news as well to you guys. So that's the video for today. Let me know in the comment section what you guys thought about any of the topics I covered today. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe to my channel, like my video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Slava Ukraini!